What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Keys to the Kingdom, Real Estate Edition, your go-to podcast for straight talk about the housing market, from the national market all the way down to Kansas City's backyard. Today, we are going to be covering everything from mortgage rates to national headlines and hyper-local stats for Jackson, Clay, Platte, and Cass counties. We're going to compare the national market to the Kansas City market, see how affordability really stacks up, see how buyers and sellers and renters are all feeling right now. And then at the end, we'll talk either some free or cheap events around the Kansas City area that you can attend. Let's talk a little bit about the national market. Rates are falling, finally. Buyers are at an all-time low right now. What gives? And 77% of U.S. cities saw a price increase. Crash canceled? Let's talk about it. The 30-year mortgage rate did dip down around 6.24%, which is lower than the sevens we saw earlier in the year. But let's be real, financing is still expensive. With most American households having to spend around 45% of their household income to be able to afford a house. This is a sign that affordability is getting stretched to its breaking point. With NAR expecting rates to hover around 6% in 2026, buyers can get a nice little break for the next year, but we're not going to be seeing those 3% interest rates anytime soon. The inventory of homes in America is slowly starting to recover, up 15% year over year, and that's the 24th straight month of an increase. However, inventory is just barely keeping up with demand, so we're starting to see a slow level off of inventory gains. House prices are still staying strong. 77% of U.S. cities saw a price increase rather than a decrease, with the U.S. average home price sitting around $426,000. According to NAR's chief economist, even with those higher interest rates, prices around the nation are not expected to have a decline. Affordability, though, is the headline struggle. The amount of first-time homebuyers in the nation is slowly dwindling, close to around 21%. The median age for first-time homebuyers now, 40 years old, which means millennials and Gen Z both are getting boxed out by boomers. A recent survey showed 81% of millennials and Gen Z would rather buy a house than have a big wedding. They just can't afford to do it. Meanwhile, repeat buyers, typically boomers, are dominating the market with cash offers and huge equity gains. It's a market of have and have-nots, where those who already own are winning and newcomers are struggling. There have been some national headlines like the 50-year mortgage, if you've heard about that. That would save around $200 a month on a $400K loan, but add tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest onto the back end of that loan. I'm not a fan of the 50-year mortgage. If you've watched my previous videos, you know that. I think it's a great stepping stone for some people who otherwise might not have been able to get financially approved for a 30-year loan. Otherwise, it's a trap. Do not do the 50-year if you can afford the 30-year mortgage loan. Some positive news, though. Mortgage applications are up about 31% across the nation, which means a lot of buyers that have been waiting for the last year or so are finally starting to get prepared to make that move. My opinion on the national housing market, it is not going to crash. It's holding strong. It's just starved for affordability. Prices are holding or rising in most American cities. How's the market in Kansas City? Depends on your county. Let's talk about the Kansas City housing market. The Jackson County median price sits around $275,000, up 4.9% year over year from last year. Inventory is also up around 4.7% year over year, which is a healthy sign for the Kansas City market. Homes are selling in about 38 days on average, which is pretty much identical to last year. So demand is holding steady with around 890 homes sold in October, meaning buyers are out there. Some notable micro market stats: Independence is still super affordable, around $225,000 median price, which is up around 8%, while Lease Summit and Blue Springs are more on that expensive end. Lease Summit around $375K, while Blue Springs is around $310,000, with both solid growth around 5 to 7% in terms of inventory. And even Kansas City's portion of Jackson County saw a $285,000 median. So values are up across the board in Jackson County. Clay County is a much hotter market in many ways, with the median home price sitting around $338,000. Inventories jumped up around 23%, meaning buyers had way more options to pick from compared to last year. And the days on market in Clay County, 35 days, down from 44 this time last year. Some of the key areas in Clay include Liberty with a median around 370,000, Gladstone around 300,000, and North Kansas City around 285,000. All of those are up from this time last year. Now for Platte County, which I call luxury light, with a median home price sitting around 431,000. That's up 10% from last year. We are seeing homes in Platte County sit on the market a little bit longer now, but the inventory took such a big drop that it caused a squeeze in price. We have Parkville with a median price of 641,000, thanks to some new developments. Riverside around 498,000, and Platte City around 437,000. Both of those are also 10% jumps. Very high demand, low supply. That's Platte County. Cass County's median home price sits around 352,000, up around 8% from last year. Inventory in Cass County is up 22%, which means buyers have way more options than they did from this time last year. With homes sitting on the market for around 45 days, it's solid growth without crazy bidding wars. Good market for sellers, but a little bit more breathing room for buyers. Bottom line, Kansas City's housing market is a lot more healthy than most of the markets in the country. We've got moderate price growth and inventory slowly creeping up in 3 of the 4 counties. And those things are relieving a lot of pressure on Kansas Cityans. Remember to smash that subscribe button and follow Realtor Austin on all socials to get Kansas City housing market updates and national headlines. Now let's talk about what buyers, sellers, homeowners, everyday Americans are actually feeling right now about the housing market. If you're feeling priced out and fed up, you're not alone. Housing anxiety is real. Renters, buyers, sellers. Why everyone's on edge right now? Let's talk about it. Renters are watching rents climb while watching home prices slip further and further out of grasp. I mean, imagine being in your 20s or 30s and realizing that 40 years old is the average age of first-time home buyers now. That must be a gut-wrenching feeling. The fact that first-time home buyers only made up 21% of purchases is a telling sign. I hear from people all the time saying they pay $1,500 a month in rent and a basic starter home is $300,000. They don't know what to do. Some people are delaying major life accomplishments. Some are foregoing a big wedding so that they can have a down payment for a house. Homeowners and home sellers have their own issues as well. If you bought when rates were 3%, you're sitting pretty, but you also feel kind of locked in because if you make a move, you could lose that interest rate. I know numerous homeowners that would love to upgrade or downsize, but don't want to trade in that 3% interest rate for a 6%. And that keeps inventory low, which is frustrating for buyers and renters. Meanwhile, everyone, buyers, renters, and sellers, is getting bombarded with crazy headlines and misinformation. Housing market's going to crash, highest prices ever, there's a big bubble coming. It's no wonder that people feel paralyzed. I always tell clients, focus on local facts. Forget the crazy national headlines. Focus on your local housing market. Now let's talk opportunity, because it's not all doom and gloom. Mortgage rates have already dropped over this year and are expected to drop even more during 2026. Inventory is also up in multiple markets, especially Kansas City, Platte, Cass, and Clay County. And already price reductions are more and more common every day. Buyers are starting to gain more and more leverage. All right, you survived the market talk. Now let's celebrate the holiday season. And the best part is most of these events are free or super cheap to attend. First up, we've got Christmas in the Park at Longview Lake. That is a drive-through winter wonderland with over 1 million twinkling lights and 200 animated displays. This is the 38th year of the Kansas City tradition, and it's completely free. They do have donations at the end if you would like to donate to local charities. It runs nightly from November 26th through December 31st. Starting at 5:30 p.m. till 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, until 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. Pack the family in the car, turn on some holiday music, and cruise through the magic. It's located at Longview Campground in Lee Summit, and a pro tip is to go on a weeknight early in the season to avoid long lines. Next up, Country Club Plaza Lights. You haven't truly experienced Kansas City Christmas until you've seen this. This is a 96th annual lighting display in the Country Club Plaza. It's a 15-block spectacle of thousands of jewel-colored lights outlining every single building. It's free to enjoy. The lights shine daily from 5 p.m. to 3 a.m. Thanksgiving night through mid-January. Make it an evening. You can grab a coffee or a hot cider, wander the plaza sidewalks, check out the lights, the beautiful Spanish architecture, and maybe do a little window shopping. Next up, you have Parkville Christmas on the River. One night only, Friday, December 5th, 2025, in historic downtown Parkville, and it turns into a Hallmark movie set. Free admission to this evening festival that runs from 6 to 10 p.m. You'll find a holiday market with live entertainment on the main stage, local shops open late, and of course, Santa Claus for the kiddos. They cap it off with a fireworks show at 8:45 p.m. over the Missouri River. Watching fireworks and Christmas lights is a unique thrill. There's free parking and shuttles from Park University. This is a fantastic family outing or even a casual date night. Small town charm just 20 minutes north of downtown Kansas City. Bundle up because it is cold out there. Grab some kettle corn and hot chocolate and enjoy the community vibe. Another fun one, Rotary Park North Pole Trail of Lights in Blue Springs, Missouri. This is new. Blue Springs has a walk-through light park that's become a must-see. Rotary Park is transformed into the Comcast Xfinity North Pole Trail of Lights, featuring over 250,000 lights and a 40-foot tall Mayor's Christmas tree. Admission is free and it's open nightly from December 2nd to December 30th, 5 to 9 p.m. weekdays and 5 to 10 p.m. Friday to Sunday. Stroll through Candy Cane Lane, giant glowing ornaments, and lighted tunnels. They even do a Mayor's Tree lighting ceremony on December 2nd at 5:45 p.m. with school choirs and Santa to kick it all off. It's like a mini wonderland you can walk at your own pace. Perfect for those in Eastern Jackson County or anyone willing to drive a little bit for a new lighting experience. And yes, Santa visits on Friday and Saturday night for the kids. Kansas City truly lights up for the holidays, year in and year out. We do it big here in KC. That's it. I appreciate y'all checking in to another episode of Keys to the Kingdom Real Estate Edition.